Welcome back to the channel. Today we're checking out something compact, efficient, and surprisingly powerful. The ThermoMate ES150 electric water heater. If you've ever wanted reliable hot water in your RV, in your cabin, in your tiny home, without taking up a lot of space, this little thing just might be the answer. We'll also tell you what we actually had planned for it. Stick around. As you can see, it says that it plugs into any standard 120 volt outlet, hot water at point of use, compact size and lightweight, 3-year tank, 1-year parts warranty, 1.3 gallons. It's fairly lightweight. All right, that's pretty good. Let's rip into this and see what we got. All right, looks really nice. Packed very, very well. So far, you get the heater and unit itself. You get the pressure relief valve. That goes right here. And you get some hardware. Manual. Seems pretty basic and straightforward. Look at this. Dial. Turn it cool to heat it up. Maximum 125 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm assuming that's an indicator. This is where the hot water goes. That's where the cold water goes. And that is where the pressure release valve goes. So the ThermoMate ES series is what's known as a mini tank electric water heater. It's designed to give you instant point of use hot water, which means you don't have to wait for the hot water to travel up from a central heater. This thing does it all for you. You just need to provide the electricity and the water. Now the ES series comes in a few different sizes. This is the most compact one. This is the ES150, and this is actually a 1.3 gallon tank. The ES250 holds 2.5 gallons, the ES400 holds 4 gallons, and the ES700 holds 6.5 gallons. That's the biggest tank. Now, this unit isn't just for one specific type of user. If you have an RV, an office, a tiny home, even maybe a cabin, as long as you have 120 volts of electricity and water pressure, you can use this thing without having to rely on a big, bulky plumbing system. Now, right off the bat, I gotta say, I really love the size of this. This is super compact, it's super lightweight, and it's really easy to fit in little compact spaces like underneath the sink or possibly in your RV. It's definitely good for a cabin as well. Small footprint. So as you can see, it's a clean and organized setup. Everything feels sturdy, solid, well built, and pretty much ready for installation. Now, while you have everything you need to mount the heater to where you want to actually put it, there are a few things missing. It's kind of a small thing, but you'll have to pick it up yourself. And that's the 1/2-inch piping or tubing that you'll need for your water lines. Now, it's not something that I'm actually too excited about because when I buy a unit, a gadget, or anything, I want it to be completely plug and play, which means I want it ready to go. I don't want to have to go out to a hardware store and pick up extra accessories to make it work. I just want it good to go. That being said, everything else about this unit feels really polished, which leads perfectly to what's going on inside this thing. Now, ThermoMate didn't cut any corners here. Inside, you have an enamel-coated steel tank. Now, it's designed to increase lifespan and resist against corrosion. Super important when you have a lot of water and electricity, I would say. Surrounding the tank is a thick polyurethane foam insulation, and that keeps heat loss to a minimum. so it's not constantly kicking on to increase temperature all the time. It helps keeps it at a nice base temperature. Now it does run on a 1440 watt heating element, and that brings the temperature of the water up to about 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. And once it hits that actual temperature, it shuts off. And then when it cools back down, it cycles back on to make sure that the temperature stays even keel. Of course, you have an adjustable dial right here for the temperature, and it does have a built-in thermal cutoff for safety. And of course, the pressure relief valve that we were talking about is included in the box. So what's the best thing about this unit? It's whisper quiet. There's no hums, there's no clicking, there's no buzzing. This thing is like it's not even there. Of course, once it's running, you'll probably be checking it every once in a while just to see if it actually is on, because it's so quiet. So now that we know what's inside and what makes it work, how do you set it up? Now, this isn't a typical plug-and-play camping gadget. This thing is meant to be hard plumbed into your water system. We actually thought that this was going to be a portable system. So when we got it, we had delusions of grandeur thinking that we're going to take it out into our little micro camper van and turn it into a portable hot shower. Of course, this is still a great unit, but it's definitely not meant for that. It's just perfect for RVs, cabins, offices, or something that doesn't really have hot running water. As for installation, it's pretty basic. You install the pressure release valve. This is the cold water intake. This is where the hot water comes out. You plug it into a wall, into your system, and it's good to go. You can mount it on a wall, under the sink, or even keep it on the floor. This unit is so light, it'd probably be better if you actually mounted it on the wall. The larger versions, because the water will have so much weight to it, probably better closer to the floor. And of course, here's all the mounting brackets and screws and hardware that you'll need. And as previously mentioned, here is the pressure release valve that goes right there. And because this only pulls about 12 amps, this is perfect for RV shore power or small cabins without heavy electrical demands. Once everything is hooked up, how does it perform? Once it's hooked up, it takes about 15 to 25 minutes for the unit to actually heat up, depending on what series it is. The bigger the unit, the longer it takes to heat up. This one only takes about 15 minutes to heat up. And because the insulation really does its job, even after turning it off, the water stays relatively hot for a very long time. If it dips, it kicks back on. The pressure release system works perfectly, safely venting any extra pressure. And because it's fully sealed and insulated, it's super efficient. So here's how I would rate it. For me, the ThermoMate ES150 is a solid 8.5 out of 10. It's compact, efficient, and really well built. This thing is perfect for RVs, cabins, offices, garages, or anywhere you need instant, reliable hot water. The only small deduction that I would say is the fact that there is no tubing or piping included, so that it makes the hookup and installation process just a little bit quicker. Like I said, not a big fan of having to go to the hardware store to complete an installation process. I want it to be completely included and plug and play. But overall, this is one of those things that just quietly does its job the way that it's meant to. Once you install it, it works as advertised. Then you really don't have to think about it again. Ease of mind. And if you've ever owned any gear or any gadgets that have overpromised and underdelivered, this is a nice, refreshing surprise. We really like this unit, and we're going to use it in a future project. Stay tuned for that one. That's it for our review of the ThermoMate ES150.